Hi, my name is Diane Malaspina, and I'm a yoga medicine teacher, an applied psychologist, and one of the lead teachers for the upcoming Yoga for Mental Health and Wellness module. Today, I want to talk with you about negative thinking and negative self-talk. We all engage in this type of thought from time to time, but it's really important that we're aware of the extent to which we engage in negative thinking and how frequently we do it. Negative thinking can exacerbate the symptoms of both anxiety and depression. When we're under stress, it can also serve as a vicious cycle where negative thinking leads to an increased stress response, and the stress response leads to more negative thinking, which has physiological effects on our nervous system, putting us in a more sympathetic dominant state, which means that we're more in a flight or fight mode. I like to use balance poses as a tool for mitigating the effects of negative thinking. One reason I like to use balance poses is because they focus the mind. It's really hard to be both thinking about something, especially something negative, while at the same time trying to stay and maintain a balance pose. I also like to add challenge to balance poses because I think it's a really good tool for helping students to recognize negative thoughts or any types of thoughts when they come out of the pose, especially if the pose challenges them or they fall out of it, and it's an opportune time to reflect and notice what's coming up. I actually call that minding the mind, and I speak to it as I'm teaching. So what you'll need to work with me at this is a block and a yoga mat. If you want to do any of these poses without the block and just use the floor for balance, that's perfectly fine. And if balance is a little off kilter today, please come close to a wall so that you don't fall and get hurt. Take your block and bring it on the narrow width, and then stand with both feet on the block. And just take a moment here and notice, maybe picking a point in front of you in order to gaze at and create a sense of focus and drishti. From here, I'm gonna shimmy my right foot over to the middle of the block and carefully take my left foot into my thigh, coming into tree pose. Now take a moment to engage the outer hip muscles by hugging in through the outer hip. And if the balance is a little off kilter, bring the hands to the hips. You might even feel the ankle shake a little bit here. If all is well, bring the hands to the heart and pause. This alone can be a great opportunity to pay attention to whatever is coming up. Now to add on to this, I'm going to bring my left foot back to the block, shimmy my right foot over so both feet are on the block, and I'm going to transition into chair pose. So as I sit back in a chair pose, I'll anchor the weight into my heels and reach the arms up. Again, take a moment, find some steadiness, and notice what's coming up. Bring the hands together at the heart. Take the left elbow over to the outer right thigh. Look down at first, that's going to help with balance. Press the elbow into the thigh and start to rotate the torso over to the right, maybe even taking the gaze over to the right side. Now slowly, to maintain the focus and the balance, keep the knees bent, come back through to chair pose, and then stand up nice and tall. Release the arms alongside of you and pause here. Now, if you really want to challenge yourself, you can close your eyes for a moment, but that could definitely take you off balance. Take a moment, reflect. Are there any thoughts coming up? If the mind is in a negative state, see if you can come back to the breath to slow things down and maintain focus. Switching sides, I'm going to shimmy my left foot to the center of the block. Bring my right foot into my thigh. Again, hug in through the outer left hip. Start with the hands on the hip for steadiness. And if all is well, bring the hands to the heart. Pause and find a place to anchor your gaze. Again, notice if any negative thoughts or any thoughts at all are coming up. Transitioning slowly and mindfully, bring the right foot back down to the block, shimmy both feet so the feet are both on the block, bend the knees, reach the arms up, and sit the weight back into the heels, coming into chair pose. Again, pause and notice what's happening in the mental landscape. Draw the hands together, and from here, Hook your right elbow to your outer left thigh, looking down at the ground. Maintain the evenness through the hips, and if all is well here, start to rotate open to the left. And as we add difficulty to each of these poses, you might find the balance getting a little off kilter. To come back to center, slowly transition, reach the arms up, coming into chair pose. And then stand up tall once again, release and pause and notice what's happening. Step off of the block and pause here, eyes closed. Notice your heart rate, notice your mind. Did you engage in any negative self-talk if you were wobbly or if you fell off of the block? And if you did, come back to the breath and try again. Balance poses can be a really great tool for focusing the mind, taking us away from negative thinking, and also for challenging us. And the challenges that we experience on the mat are a great learning opportunity for us to look at how we experience the challenges off the mat. Thank you for joining me today for these tips on how to use balance poses to counter negative thinking. If you'd like to learn more about our upcoming mental health and wellness module, visit yogamedicine.com. Namaste.